What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nacho Wrestling. And in today's episode of Versus, we are taking a look at two titans of the sport, two icons of the industry, the face of the WWE versus the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's right, it's John Cena versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, and we're going to stack them up against each other in 5 rounds, and we're going to see which one ends the day as the best wrestler over here on Nacho Wrestling. But before we do that, why don't you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell to stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling, and leave a comment on this video as well while you're at it. And if this is your first time watching a Nacho Wrestling video, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button? I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers, and your help would be greatly appreciated. With all that out of the way, let's get on to talking about and looking at John Cena versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Let's get on to round 1, look and presentation. Both these guys have had a wide variety of looks and gimmicks and costumes, whatever you want to call them, theme songs, so on and so forth. They've had a lot of them. They've had a couple of different ones for both men. But let's start off with Tanahashi. The Tanahashi we know today with the flamboyant gear, the bright colors, the feathers, and everything like that, essentially what we would know as the ace of New Japan era of Tanahashi. I don't really think that Tanahashi kind of came around until about 10 years ago, I would say. And I could be wrong on that. It could be later, it could be earlier. Just to me, it seems like for a long time he was wearing a bit more simple gear. You know, like he was represented by white, and then Shibata was represented by black, and then Nakamura was represented by red. You know, sort of those 3 heavy hitters at the time were kind of all represented by a singular color. Of course, obviously, he wore Young Lion black gear, as a lot of Young Lions, all Young Lions have to do in New Japan, is wear that plain black gear, plain black knee pads and boots and everything like that. But I feel like some of the design elements that we would see in younger Tanahashi would definitely make their way over into this new era, this ace of New Japan Tanahashi that we have today. Like the just the design elements, you know, patterns and everything like that we started seeing earlier on, but it really didn't take full effect until recently. On the other side of the fence, we have John Cena, who we all know has had quite a bit different looks over the years. Originally, when he first got signed by WWE and was on Velocity and Heat, he was wearing those hideous yellow banana pants. And then after that, he of course was prototype John Cena with the plain trunks and boots that match the hometown that he's in for that week. And that would be a precursor to Dr. Thugonomics Cena, who wore jerseys and football jerseys, basketball jerseys, baseball jerseys of the local hometown team he was in, and wrestled in jorts and Reeboks. And of course, nowadays we have Cena with the very bright, flamboyant color schemes and everything on his shirts, you know, from yellow to green, and they're not like a muted yellow or green. They're like bright yellow, bright green, bright purple, whatever. And he's doing sort of akin to the jerseys from back in the day. He's taking whatever the sports team's colors are in that area and making them that. Like, for example, at the Perth, Australia show, Australia's teams really use like that green and yellow sort of combination. So he used that for his shirt. But even before those shirts, something that I want to mention, just to give Cena a little bit of an extra ledge against Tanahashi in this round, is I always loved the chain gang era of the John Cena shirts. The ones that look sort of military inspired. Occasionally we'd see like a bulldog on there or something. If you know what I'm talking about with the John Cena bulldog, please put that in the comments because you'll make me feel not crazy. I really do like that era of John Cena. I like the era of both these guys for all their gears. I don't think anyone had terrible gear, you know, during this time. You could make an argument that the Young Lion gear is boring because it's just black, but it's supposed to be boring because they're not special yet. They haven't gone on their excursions to learn who they are. So honestly, in all, if I could give both these guys just like an honorary point for gear and gear evolution and everything like that alone, I totally would give them both a point. But that's not how this works here. We have to sort of just overall encapsulate theme music and everything like that, which, by the way, both these guys have some killer theme songs, not just now, but in the past as well. And Cena would probably get the edge there on theme songs because, I mean, people have taken his theme song now and switched it to be John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks, which is awesome. But even the Dr. Thugonomics theme song was a banger as well. Tanahashi's theme song, I'll be fully transparent, I'm not as familiar with, but I do, when I hear it, you know, I sing along to it and I do the Go Ace part. So it's iconic in its own right, but you have to sort of be a Tanahashi purist to kind of at least even be able to sing along with it a little bit, if that makes sense. All in all, I think I have to give this round to Tanahashi. I like his presentation. I like his look more. At the end of the day, I am a wrestling purist and not a sports entertainment fan. So when a wrestler looks like a wrestler, I'm probably going to appreciate that a little more than some guy coming out in jorts and Reeboks. Even though jorts and Reeboks, you know, back in the day looked pretty swag, nowadays it's more like wear some khaki shorts and some Jordans or something. Oh, another thing before I show you the round 1 graphic is that John Cena's shirts for this retirement run, I feel like could be a little more special, a little more fun. I talked about how they just kind of use the colors of the local sports team and throw that out there. But it's almost the same like iconography every time. Like it's Cena doing the same pose on the same shield, you know, in the same spot on the shirt. Nothing different. When Cena used to get a new shirt back in the day, like when he went from the orange to the red to the green, whatever, he was doing some sort of different pose. I remember one, he was lifting up a barbell with like 3 plates on each side or something. One, he was attitude adjusting a guy. The other, he had an STF locked in. You know, sort of show all of Cena's great moments through the shirts. Not a terrible idea. You know, just in hindsight, it could have been better. Round 1, John Cena 0, Hiroshi Tanahashi 1. Round 2, mic and talking skills. Listen, cat's out of the bag. I don't actually speak fluent Japanese. So for all I know, Tanahashi is quite literally the best promo in wrestling history. Or, he's the worst promo in wrestling history. There's really no in-between there. Either way, I do really love Cena's work on the mic, and I think even if I could fully understand Hiroshi Tanahashi and knew everything he was saying verbatim, I'd probably still give Cena the edge here. Because you have to look at when Cena has dream matches, what's one of the most things that people look forward to in his dream matches? It's not necessarily the match itself, it's the promo battle. It's the, ooh, how is he going to go in here and eviscerate this guy this way? How is he going to go in here and eviscerate that guy that way? That's kind of what we all want to see with John Cena, because he's got an ability to give every single wrestler he steps in the ring with cry face. From Roman Reigns to The Miz, hell, even The Rock. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Dwayne, with your promo notes on your wrist. Cena, at least for me, is going to win this round, and I think that's pretty fair. Cena is one of the most memorable talkers. He's got an iconic voice. It's just something that when you hear him talk, you're kind of going to listen to what he has to say. Round 2 result. John Cena 1, Hiroshi Tanahashi 1. Round 3, overall match quality. Again, like last time, all these numbers are courtesy of CageMatch.net, so if you have a problem with them, take them up with Cage Match, not me. One thing that you'll more than likely see from my screenshots of Cage Match is that I use the default settings on there, so it ranks them in the highest order of voting numbers, so that's why Undertaker's at number 1, and then CM Punk at 2, Cena at 3, Bryan Danielson at 4, and Jericho at 5. That's why it stacks up like that. If we were to switch this to the actual ratings, the overall match ratings, you know, you'd have all your New Japan Three Musketeers guys up at the top, but then you'd have to scroll down to like the thousands for John Cena. You wouldn't have to scroll that far for Tanahashi, but you'd have to scroll very far for Cena. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it on the default settings here. So with that little brief moment out of the way, let's take a look at John Cena's rating and rankings throughout Cage Match. Like I said, Cena would be found very low in the thousands area of the cage match if we were to look at solely based off the ratings and not the voting numbers. But that being said, Cena does boast an admirable 7.89 overall match rating, which, you know, for a guy that got chants for most of his career saying you can't wrestle, a 7.89, pretty solid if you ask me. An interesting thing to note is that John Cena never hit the 8 category, or 8 range rather, till 2016-2017. And ever since 2016-2017, at least according to Cage Match, he's never been below an 8 overall wrestler. Listen, I tried to give Cena as much credit as I could, and yes, based off voting numbers and everything like that, he's a top 4 voting wrestler, but if we're looking at one of the second generation Three Musketeers of New Japan Pro Wrestling of the fucking Lion Mark, I mean, yeah, New Japan's gonna win this round easy style, because Tanahashi boasts a fucking amazing 9.63. To this day, I believe that is the highest rating we've seen on the Versus episodes. Even though this is only the second episode of Versus, we'll definitely get someone that's higher. But for now, Tanahashi holds the record on this channel with a 9.63, like I said. Another thing to note is that he is the first wrestler on the channel and in this series to boast a 10.00 average for a year, which was in 2012. Another thing to note is that he only dipped into the 8 range once in 2007 when the Cage Match database was first introduced. It's undoubtedly obvious that Tanahashi is going to win this round. A 9.63 overall match rating versus a 7.89 is a huge gap. And Cena is wrapping it up in a few months, and so is Tanahashi, so there's real no time for either of these two to get any closer to each other. Round 3 result: John Cena 1, Tanahashi 2. Round 4, kayfabe. Let's be honest, this round is probably the toughest round to grade because both men have won just about everything they need to win in their respective companies. Let's start with the man in the lead, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi has won a record-holding 8 IWGP Heavyweight titles. He's also been a 3-time Intercontinental Champion for the IWGP, and he's held just about every single Never title they have, and even the brand new, well not brand new, but somewhat new television title that they brought out in the past few years. He's also a 3-time winner of the G1 Climax and a 2-time winner of the New Japan Cup. That is something that a lot of wrestlers don't get to say they've done, is win the old New Japan Cup and also win the G1 Climax. Not a lot of wrestlers get to say they did both. Tanahashi does. However, there's that damn elephant in the room of Jonathan Felix Anthony Cena. A man who's done just quite about everything he needs to do in the WWE. He's held almost every single title with the exception of the Intercontinental title. He's been a 17-time world champion. He's won 2 Royal Rumbles, won a Money in the Bank, main evented a plethora of Manias, not only main evented, but had a plethora of moments at Manias as well. He's done a lot, and he has won a lot as well. I'll be honest, I am torn like that damn Will Smith meme. I got 2 goats in front of me, and I don't know which one to pick. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to have to give the round to John Cena. While yes, both men hold the records for number of title reigns within their respective companies and everything like that, Cena holds 17 versus Tanahashi's 8. Round 4 result: John Cena 2, Hiroshi Tanahashi 2. Round 5, overall legacy. The tiebreaker, yet again here in the 5th round. I think both men have carved out their legacies and will leave a lasting impact on the wrestling world and will be remembered and missed very fondly once they hang up the boots. The only difference here is that while John Cena will be off doing Hollywood movies and TV shows and press tours for everything like that, Hiroshi Tanahashi will still be carving out his wrestling legacy just as the president of New Japan, not as an active competitor. Even though Cena has introduced me to professional wrestling back in 2008, 2009, Hiroshi Tanahashi is one of the guys that has opened my eyes to the whole world of professional wrestling. Not only that, but he's also building his legacy still as the president of New Japan, holding a role in their creative team, holding a role in their booking decisions and everything like that. If New Japan goes to shit, his legacy will go downhill, and maybe John Cena wins this round. But if New Japan starts to prosper and do better than ever, maybe that credit might have to go to Tanahashi, and it boasts his legacy even more. For now, just based off of who's still going to be doing stuff in wrestling actively after they retire, I'm gonna have to give this round to Hiroshi Tanahashi. Round 5 result: John Cena 2, Hiroshi Tanahashi 3. Well, that is it for today's episode of Versus. I know a lot of Fed-coded people are going to come at me and try to tell me that John Cena is better than... and then probably say some racist remark about how Hiroshi Tanahashi is, you know... I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to give them, like, ammunition for it. But Hiroshi Tanahashi, for me, is going to win this matchup just because, I mean, come on, man. Like, he's a great wrestler. If we're doing this based off of who's the better wrestler, which we kind of are, because wrestling is wrestling and you're a wrestler, Tanahashi's the better wrestler overall. He's got a better look, a better presentation, the hair, the tan, all of it. Perfect. Love it. Let me know what you guys thought about the video down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you think Tanahashi would win this hypothetical matchup against John Cena? Or do you think John Cena would get the win against Tanahashi? Like I said, let me know who you have winning this down in the comments below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay up to date on all things Nacho Wrestling. And I will see you guys next time.